G'day, Geordie Pete read it on Hollywood Balls, and today I'm surrounded by legends. It's all about Michelin stars and goals. Lots of goals. Welcome to Hollywood Balls. The season returns today, and what a lineup we've got ourselves. We've got our very own super Kevin Campbell, Mr. Goals, Kenny Miller's in the house, and one of UK's finest chefs, Galton Blackiston, joins us. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hi, Pete.
Good morning, one and all. Kev, I'm going to start with you. Let's get this out of the way because it's going to be a very, very happy show.
Yeah, let's get it out of the way.
We'll get the business out of the way. I seem to ask it all the time. Arsenal, what happened?
Got bullied, got absolutely battered yesterday. It looked like the team weren't up for it, for the battle. And against a newly promoted team like Brentford, you know, technical-wise, maybe they're Arsenal are better than them, but you have to be able to match them. And Arsenal couldn't match them. Brentford fully deserved the win last night, Pete. And Arsenal just couldn't do the basics right. Losing the Aubameyang and Lacazette didn't help the situation, obviously. But listen, Arsenal Football Club, there are no excuses. And Brentford fully deserved that win last night. Fair play to them. But, you know, there's a lot of pressure going around at Arsenal now.
Yeah, big time. Kenny, before I come to you, I've got to say a quick hi. Debbie Steedman's in the house now. Galton, Debbie is a massive fan of yours. Look, but she never watches our show because she's always watching James Martin. So she's decided because you're on today that she's going to join us. So a big hello to Debbie. And only kidding, Debbie. It's lovely to have you on board. Kenny, you're down under. Tell us a little bit. How's it going at the old Western Sydney Wanderers? Is it going well?
It was a bit of a mixed season last year, to be honest. We came in October, everything going on in the world. It was a shortened season. There was different budget restrictions and things going on, but it was a great listen. It was good to come to the club. It's a fantastic football club, really good facilities, good people. We're now just started last week pre-season for this season upcoming, so it's been a good first 8-9 days, and we're thoroughly looking forward to it. But with the situation in Australia at the moment, we're in lockdown. Not too sure how it's going to go in regards to starting the season. Hopefully it'll go ahead as planned. But thoroughly looking forward to it. We've got recruitment right. The group looks in a good place. They've worked their socks off this week, as you can imagine, being the first week of pre-season. So glad I missed that. I tried to get involved a little bit, but my calf went in the first couple of days, so I had to sit it out. But no, it's been good to be back on the grass.
Someone who's not in lockdowns, our Galton, he's sitting in the garden. Tell us where you are exactly.
I'm in this extraordinary place up in Yorkshire called Grantley Hall, and it's some of the I don't know what they are, but most powerfulest cars I think I've ever seen. Jesus, there must be a very, very posh wedding going on any minute now.
Great stuff. You could go over and introduce yourself.
Maybe
I know you're on a couple of days off, so you can't be working. Listen, it's fantastic to have Norwich back at where they belong. A bit of a stern test on the opener. I mean, could they emulate what Brentford did, do you think, and shock Liverpool?
First and foremost, I'd love to see it, but my heart says yes, but my head says definitely not. And Liverpool are a bit different to Arsenal, to be fair.
Yeah.
But you know, it's now you're allowing fans back. Carrow Road will be buzzing, like everywhere will be, and maybe that will help them a bit. But crikey, if you could give me a draw now, I'd snap your hand off.
I'm sure. Back over to you, Kenny. Listen, I did on your career, and what a career it is. Literally, it's about pages and pages of Wikipedia because of all the goals you managed to score. But
I think it's all the clubs, Pete, not the goals.
I wanted to ask you though, do you think it was that stellar year in 2000 that basically paved the way for your move to Rangers from Hibs? Do you think it was that caught the eye?
Absolutely. I think it was my first real year at the top flight. I had a decent enough year. I finished Hibs top scorer as well. Obviously, like you say, I got the Young Player of the Year, but I managed to score 3 goals against Rangers that year as well, actually. I managed to get a couple of them in a 2-2 draw. Again, it was live on Sky on a Sunday night. It was the old Sunday night 6:05 kickoff in the SPL, and we drew 2-2 against Rangers. I scored both goals, and I think that would definitely have went a long way to kind of securing my move that summer. So it was it was a good year.
Also, as well, I wanted to ask you, it's fascinating me. I watch Scottish and English football, and I wanted to know from a man who's played both north of the border and south of the border, is it more physical in Scotland than it is in England, in your opinion?
It's maybe a bit of a myth that the Scots just go up and try and kick lumps at each other, but there is a little bit of football played as well. But I would say that it's a far more technical game down south. I think with the level of investment over the last kind of 20 years into the Premier League, and you see the best players in the world want to come to the English Premier League. So you've got that kind of higher level of quality. There's no getting away from that. But the one thing's for sure, as we've seen with the Scotland-England game in the Euros, the Scots will give as good as they get. And we've got a lot of good players up in Scotland in the SPL at the moment as well. And you see a lot of these lads kind of making the trip down south now. And Kieran Tierney, again, at your club, Kevin, I would probably say he's one of your best players at the moment. He's outstanding left-back. Played against him a lot at Celtic. He's a wonderful young footballer. And he looks like he's taken to Arsenal just like a duck to water. So he's a really good player. Obviously, we've got Andy Robertson at Liverpool, McTominay's at Man United. We've got some really good players in the national team who are playing at the top flight clubs in England.
Great stuff. Galton, saying
that.
Kenny's.
And we've got young Billy.
Yeah.
And we've got young Billy Gilmore at Galton's club
Billy
as well.
Gilmore,
As well.
What a future he's got, by the way.
Fantastic
what a
footballer.
Galton, Kenny's saying there in lockdown, it brings me on to say to you, it's hit hospitality the hardest, hasn't it? I mean, what have you done to try and sort of veto that? I mean, because it's been a seriously hard time.
Oh God, yeah, it's the hardest time. Well, anybody can ever remember, and this last one in particular, which started in the end of December and went on till May. It was really tough mentally for not being able to say anything positive to staff, and not knowing. It was really, really tough. I mean, okay, but we've gone from famine to absolute feast now, and it's full now to every night till the end of the year, which is amazing. But that does bring problems as well. You got staff, and they've had 5 months off, and now are going and are back and are flat out. You've got to manage your staff properly. You've got to. It's good on the one hand, but it's also problematic as well, and you've got to just be careful.
Yeah, and listen, for those that don't know, and I do because I've watched every single episode, Great British Menu. You meet the one and only Anthony Worrell-Thompson, didn't you?
Listen,
Did he take that well?
If I can't beat Anthony Worrell-Thompson, I need to stop cooking straight away.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, but no, to be fair, it was the first series of that program, and I was a Norfolk oik as such, and but it was what a platform that was. What a platform, because it then allowed Mawston to expand, the hotel to expand, because the phones just didn't stop ringing for months afterwards. It's a good thing.
Back over to today, Kev. Massive game at Old Trafford. I've got to ask you, and it's not my opinion. I'm just putting it out there. But there's a lot of people, a lot of the media, saying that it's a massive season for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because he's got to deliver a trophy this season.
Yeah, he's gone very close. There's been a good investment that's got into the United squad. I mean, you look at United's squad, and if they don't challenge right until the death, something's wrong. Because they finished second last season. You add Varane at the back and you add Sancho. They've got to be going close. Let's be honest. No matter what the others do, they've got to be up there. So I think the pressure is on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but I think he knows that. He realises that. And for me, Manchester United are going to be very close. Very close
Yeah.
this season.
It's a massive game, and I mean, twofold, because, like you said, Kev, the fans are back, so it's going to be an absolutely electric atmosphere. It's the old War of the Roses, isn't it? So, first game as well, Leeds. I mean, wow,
Listen, let me tell you
it's
something.
going to be unbelievable.
There's going to be as many people on the train going across. There's going to be helicopters in the sky because there is no love lost between Manchester and Leeds, as you well know. So having away fans there, it's going to be a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
I fancy Manchester United, to be honest with you, but Bielsa and this Leeds team could do anything. There could be a surprise package, and I don't mind it if Leeds do okay, because I want Galton to survive where he is. Because
yeah, I'm backing Leeds as well.
Yeah, you'll have to. Kenny, speaking of first games, I wanted to pull this one up for you. You scored on your debut for Celtic, and in true football fashion, it was against Rangers. How did that go down with your Rangers pals?
It wasn't actually my debut. It was the first Old Firm game of the season.
Yeah.
And I think it was the 7th game in. So as it got to game 4 and game 5 and I hadn't scored, people were starting to say, I think that's one of Galton's cars in the background, by the way. Is that one of the big noises?
Yeah, this thing.
Yeah.
It's his limo waiting to pick him up after.
This is embarrassing. I'm going to have to
move. So once we got to kind of 4 games and 5 games in, people were starting to say, you're going to score in the Old Firm against Rangers. It's going to be your first goal. And sure enough, it was the opener. It was the second goal and a 2-0 win. And funnily enough, Pete, as well, my first goal, I went back to Rangers 18 months later, and my first goals for Rangers were against Celtic at Parkside as well. It was carnage, absolutely carnage.
Only in football. But I have to say, though, there was every chance it would, given your strike rate. I mean, it is a phenomenal strike rate, and what amazes me is it took the management of Scotland so long to get you drafted in there when you were scoring goals for fun.
Scored that many because I played for 25 years. that's the problem. I was played forever. I would still be playing now if it was my choice, to be honest. But it was good. It was massive games. Loved to play in the games. Obviously, getting international call-ups as well were huge. I always loved pulling the dark blue Scotland. Again, unfortunate not to make that major finals, but it was good to watch the team make the Euros this year on a wonderful event, and I'm sure a great experience for all the players and staff that were involved.
Have you got a favourite goal out of them all?
There's there are a lot of big ones. I loved the Old Firm goals. I was fortunate enough. I got quite a few of them. International goals, big games against Italy and Germany were really, really good goals, good results. My last game for Scotland was actually in the 3-2 friendly of 2013, I think it was. It was the first Scotland-England game for a long time. I think it was just opening in the new Wembley as well. So I managed to get a goal in that, albeit in a 3-2 defeat. But I think the one that sticks out is with a cup final for Rangers back in 2010, and we were down to 9 men. We went down to 9 men against St Mirren in the League Cup final, and I managed to pop up with a winner in the last 5 minutes, and we won 1-0. So it was a backs against the wall job. It was all hands on deck, but we managed to get the job done, which was the important thing.
Galton, we're getting a lot of questions, not just about your restaurant, but also about the fish and chips, the enterprise. Am I right in thinking that this enterprise was born? You were watching a Norwich City game when it came to you, did it?
Yeah. I get asked the question quite a lot about would you ever do another Morstan Hall? It's a small, intimate place and quite nice and all that. My standard answer always was never say never, but somebody asked me at the football that question, and I said, well, the only thing that really interests me is fish and chips. And then they sort of said, well, come and have a look at this place in the sleepy little town of Cromer. You guys won't have ever been to Cromer, I don't think. But wow, when I got there and the views, every single window overlooks the sea and it's beautiful and it's big, it was a no-brainer. So, and that it makes me smile, the fish and chips thing, because it's good.
It is. I've got to ask you, there's 2 northern boys here. This might offend you, but you and Kev being our southern sort of correspondents for today. Fish and chips, Is it gravy or curry sauce on your chips?
That's a good question. For me, I do offer both, but for me, I like a bit of curry sauce on mine.
Good man. Kev, what you having?
It's got to be curry sauce.
It has, isn't it? What do you say, Kenny? What does Kenny say?
Well, we're salt and sauce. Like, we're salt and sauce up in Scotland, and it's no curry sauce. It'll be your house brown or your house ketchup sauce. But my wife loves
you eat Mars bars deep fried up there.
Well, I've never had that. And deep fried pizza, by the way. So, but I've never had that before. But my wife loves the chips and gravy. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Kenny, you've got to come over to Dubai. We've got a chippy over here that does deep fried Mars bars and iron brew.
I get iron brew across here in the kind of British bit of the supermarket, so I'm no missing out there.
But Pete, does it do square sausage?
There's a butcher. We've got the British butcher. The supermarket doesn't, but the British butcher does. A wee 25-minute drive, always every couple of weeks to get my square sausage.
Nice one.
And my steak pie for my Sunday dinner.
Brilliant. Galton, I've got to ask you, because I watch it every Saturday. You're on regularly with your big pal James Martin, and you are big mates.
I'm not so sure he's a big pal.
I've got to ask you, why does he batter you every Saturday on live TV?
Well, listen,
the last time was appalling.
You say that, but I have to say, we're all right. We do get on very well, and he does try and stitch me up every time I go on there. And I try and be organised. I try and make sure I've got everything right and I know what I'm doing and I'm concentrating. As with anything, if I'm not concentrating on something, anything can happen. And, it all goes wrong and I get in the moment and I listen to some of the rubbish he comes out with and then things start going wrong. But I will say this thing. On the back of that, we are in talks at the moment and this would be funny. Myself, Johnny Vegas and James are kind of go around in a van or something around the parts of the country doing some cooking. So you got Yorkshire, Lancashire, and the cream of the crop, Norfolk. That would be funny, I think.
Johnny Vegas surprised a lot of people in his latest celebrity TV show. He got through the semi-finals where Denise Van Outen beat him. But I remember when he started that program, everyone was sort of, and he did say it himself, everyone thought it was like a sort of a joke edition. But he was absolutely brilliant with Rosemary, and he was very unlucky not to get through.
Yeah, he's all right, Johnny Vegas is. He's really good fun. And he loves his food, obviously he does.
Brilliant stuff. Kev, coming back up to you, it's time for our hero, our Hollywood Baller of the Week. Anyone involved in the game of football, on or off the pitch. Who have you got for us?
Yeah, I think this guy's much maligned. He hasn't had the greatest time at Chelsea. But I've got to give it to Kepa Arrizabalaga, where,
penalty kick
out and they brought him on and he came up trumps for them. So I think he gets Baller of the Week. And being held on the shoulders of the Chelsea players, maybe he couldn't see that, from previous seasons. But he done really well.
What's your thoughts on that Super Cup? Is it a game too many, do you think?
No. It's
no.
Listen, trophies are important, Pete.
Yeah.
So if a trophy's there to be won, sets the season up nicely, doesn't it? Win the trophy, and they've won it, so they'll be raring to go, Chelsea.
Okay, Kenny, have you got a Baller of the Week for us?
Again, I tend to agree with Kev. It's a really good. Again, it's a big statement, a big gamble to make these kind of decisions. Particularly was it last season when he had the kind of situation as well where he was going to be coming off and then he stays on. So, like Kevin says, to step in and get the Super Cup done, because I again absolutely agree. Like Leicester winning the Charity Shield, or the Community Shield now as it's called, was it gets the season off to a fantastic start, and winning any kind of silverware is always going to be a positive. So, yep, I'd stick with Kev on that. And
also Kenny as well. But you mentioned Leicester there. The Charity Shield was a chance for them to celebrate the FA Cup win as well, wasn't it, at Wembley? So it was a sort of a double up because they couldn't be there for that. So it was a great opportunity for them to party, the Charity Shield, and boy, did they party.
Absolutely. I mean, Brendan Rodgers, he was up in Scotland for 2.5 years and did an incredible job up there at Celtic. Dominated. I mean, I was in the Rangers team when he first came up, and it was mean they were an outfit. But the job he's done at Leicester is is incredible. I mean, he's now like reading a little bit about it today, like that winning mentality and having that drive to go and succeed, and not just be kind of like also men, like making that final hurdle and putting silverware, and that's 2 trophies in the last 3 months. So it's a wonderful achievement for a club like Leicester.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers, take my hat off to him. What a great manager he is. Galton, have you got a hero, a baller of the week for us?
Well, it's going to have to be Tim Krul, because he's going to be very, very busy this afternoon. I think. So he's got a chance to be an absolute hero. And I think he's up for it. So
he's a good penalty stopper as well.
He is. He's a good penalty stopper. He's been fantastic since resurrecting his career at Norwich.
Yep.
And I think he's already going to be my player of the season.
He's going to be the busiest player of the season.
Yeah, for that reason. Oh, Jesus.
Did you hear that? It's fine, yeah, don't worry about it.
Aye.
It's his limo waiting for him to pick him up.
I wish. I wish.
Absolutely brilliant. Kev, back up to you. What a signing for Chelsea this week. And, forget the money. The fans aren't bothered about that. Everyone's saying, it's 98 million. Is he the missing piece of the jigsaw that can help Chelsea win the league this year, do you think? Mr. Lukaku?
No, I think that signing is the statement of intent, Pete.
Yeah.
Because when you look at Chelsea, they've got everything else. But what they really struggled on, and Timo Werner had so many chances to score goals last season and couldn't really take it and put Chelsea out of sight. Now they've gone for somebody not only physical, but big, strong, can score goals. Can score
Lost
goals
Kev. You'll be back in a sec. You there?
I'm here.
Sorry, you just lost you for a sec. Yeah, sorry, you were saying about the statement signing. Yeah,
say about Lukaku. For one, they struggled with Werner. They really struggled Chelsea with Werner. Had loads of chances, didn't really score, and I think Werner actually needs someone like Lukaku to take the pressure off him. Lukaku has obviously been at the football club before. He knows Chelsea, but he's a better all-round player now, Pete. And I think this is the gauntlet's down now. Manchester City are going to want to get Harry Kane, but I think Chelsea fancy their chances with Lukaku at the top end of the pitch because he's that missing piece.
Okay, I'm just sort of thinking as well, imagining Mason Mount supplying him, the young lad that Kenny's just mentioned, Billy Gilmour, will probably play a bigger role this season. What a future he's got. It's very exciting times for Chelsea, Kev.
Hang on, Billy Gilmour's at Norwich.
He's gone on loan. He's on loan for the season. Yeah.
You must have misheard me when I said that, then, Pete. I'd say that's
I did.
He's a bit Matt and Jeff, Kenny.
It's these headphones I can't hear. I can't hear. Well, you've got a chance then, Galton. You might just keep you up with him and Tim Krul. Kenny, I wanted to ask you about Scotland because on the 27th or the weekend of there is the first big derby, Celtic Rangers. Whisper it quietly, but Celtic have gone. They look a little bit of a force in the last couple of games. They've got their mojo back. Do you think the tides could turn again this season?
I think it was a tough start. I think I think both Old Firm teams have actually endured a tough start to the season. Celtic never won a game in the first 3, which is strange. Yep. Obviously losing the 2 European games and then losing the league opener. They've bounced back with a good win in Europe and also a league win last week. And Rangers have then suffered 3 defeats in a row before last night. Against 2 against Malmo and 1 against Dundee United. So it's been an indifferent start for both teams. But when that game comes around in a few weeks, I'm looking forward to it already. I loved the fixture as a player and as a supporter watching back on it. Seeing that the fans are going to be back in now, the noise that will be coming out of that stadium will be louder than the noise of these cars that Galton's listening to right now.
It's a freaking helicopter coming down now.
We just need a jumbo jet. You've got the full set. Kev, Roddy's in the house and he's got a great question for you. He says he sees that the Odegaard rumours are catching fire again. Do you think you'll be able to land the deal to get him at Arsenal?
If I'm honest, Pete, I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, he was at the club last season for half a season on loan. Really good player. But with Toni Kroos being out at Real Madrid, the rumour had it that Odegaard wouldn't be sold. But who knows now? Because there might be some comings and goings at Real Madrid as well. So if Arsenal could get him, they need him. They need quality.
Eugene sent a message in. I think he's on your side, Galton, because he's asking who do you think will be relegated in the Premier League this season. I mean, we haven't even started yet, but it's a good question. He thinks it's going to be Southampton, Brentford, and Burnley. So it looks like Norwich are going to be safe, according to Eugene.
Like that.
You'll take that, won't you?
Yeah.
I can't see. I can't see Southampton being down there. I think they may struggle, Kev, but I think that they've got enough. They'll spend that money that they got from your man off to Villa, Danny Ings. So I think they're always generally safe, aren't they?
They'll be all right. Listen, they've got to replace Che Adams, who's obviously Scottish international. He's got to step up this season because losing a partner with Danny Ings. Danny Ings was the experience, and Che Adams was a good young player who was finding his feet. He scored some really important goals, but now all the pressure's on him. When you look at it, so when a team loses goals, you've got to replace it with goals, and finding goals are hard to come by. So it's going to be difficult for Southampton, and if they don't get it right, Pete, they could struggle.
Okay, just for the TFA family, because there's been people in late, and we haven't got George today with his watchful eye over me, so I'm just going to flash the second code up for you for your bonus room. There it is there. Don't say I don't do anything for you. Lots of big games on the day. We'll get on to the predictions. Kenny, I'm going to put you on the spot, though, in Scotland. Who do you think it'll be, Rangers again?
I think Rangers will win the league this year. I do. I think obviously Celtic have went a new manager. They have found their mojo, like you say, over the last couple of games. But it's 2 games. It's 2-3 games out of it's 50% of their games ish. That I think there's still a lot of work to be done there. To be honest, Rangers need to step up as well. I think Steven Gerrard spoke this week that they definitely need a big result last night. They got it. They got it in the League Cup, 5-0 against Dunfermline at home. So they got through, but they really need to find their spark again in an attacking sense. But I think the squad's there. You know, you don't become bad players or a bad team overnight. They're just at the start of the season. They seem a little bit flat. But that team is a very, very good team with a lot of good players in it. And I would imagine Rangers will edge it again this year.
Okay. Before we get into the predictions, God help me, Kenny, I just wanted to speak about one of your old clubs as well. Now, that Wolves didn't have the best season last season, and was that due to the fact that Nuno maybe knew he was on his way out, and what can they expect this season under the new stewardship?
Well, listen, let's make no mistake about it. The job that Nuno done at Wolves since he came to the club was absolutely phenomenal. Firstly, listen, there was a lot of back end, there's no doubt about it, and they got a lot of really good players when they first came in, when Wolves were in the Championship, and they went through the league, which is not easy. It's not easy at that level to come through it, but they came through it with flying colours, and then in the couple of seasons in the Premier League, listen, they were... stable's an understatement. Was it 7th they finished in the first year and got European football was an incredible achievement for Wolves, and a long way they came under them. Yeah, last year it was always going to be hard to replicate. I mean, you're talking about the big 16s. I mean, Kevin's talking about Man City and Chelsea and how Man United are strengthened, and you throw and now. You throw Tottenham into that. You throw Leicester into that because they've been up there fighting for the Champions League spots for the last few years. So it's always going to be hard to replicate that season. So the fact that they were still in the league comfortable, again, I don't see them being in any trouble. Don't know too much about the new manager, to be honest with you, but time will tell if it's going to be a continuation of the good work that Nuno done.
Speaking of seasons, Galton, now you're saying that it's getting busy again now in the hospitality industry. You can't get a table for love nor money. What's on your agenda for the coming months? Have you got any new projects, or are you back on TV, or are you just concentrating on the restaurant and the fish and chip shop?
Well, mostly concentrating on the restaurant and chip shop, yeah. But I am with James in a couple of weeks' time. We're doing Carfest thing, which is a thing down south.
Yeah,
which is good fun. And then I'm back in with him in September. So I just really dip in and out of it all. And just my main thing is obviously Morstan Hall.
So when you say that he stitches you up, does he change the labels around on the oven? Is that what he does?
He tries to do that. He tries to think that everything that I do is very small and petite. Well, there is a reason for that. James aren't the size he is. And so, but we do have a laugh. He's a very good chef in his own right, but he is good fun.
I think one of the things that surprises me as a viewer to watch, and it's fascinating. If I'm cooking, I have to concentrate. Imagine guys doing a live TV and cooking at the same time and commentating on it. I'd just have stuff all over. It would be an absolute nightmare. So I don't know how you guys do that.
Well, it is a bit of organisation, but I think that's possibly why maybe I get asked a few times to go on, because it is freaking carnage.
It's not all right.
The food's all right, but it's everything else that goes with it.
I think as well when he announces, what I love is when he's in the garden and he's announcing who he's got on in the show, and he says we've got Galton Blackiston. Yeah. Everyone go get in. It is going to be carnage. Speaking of carnage, it's time. We've had a great show. It's been lovely, and now it's time to ruin it all with the this week's predictions. But before we do, let's concentrate on last week's.
Oh, I'm sure. Here we go. Congratulations, Geordie Pete.
Finally on the board as a winner.
His first win ever.
First win in how many episodes? We've been going a year and a bit now, and it's my first
680.
Win, so,
go on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm dining out on it. Pardon the pun. Okay, so we're going to start with you, Kev. But before we do, we've got our guest. Sorry, he's got his own little prediction. Now, gents, we've got a great stat man who is in Australia. He's in Sydney, Kenny, so you can go and see him after this. He's a great guy.
Can't wear a lockdown, Pete.
Oh, we can't, no. You can zoom him. Basically, he does all of his stats. He pulls them from his memory. He doesn't use Google. He's a walking football encyclopedia. Here's Dave.
Hello there, Geordie Dave Huggan with the stats from Sydney, Australia on Manchester United versus Leeds. Now, what a fantastic rivalry that is between two great clubs in the north of England. And it's also not just the fans, but also quite often the players have gotten very feisty in those games. If you think about those old rivalries between Haaland and Roy Keane, and also Beckham and Robbie Keane, and Ian Hart and Fabian Barthez, getting a bit hot under the collar in the past. One of those great players who've played for both teams, like Gordon Strachan and also famously Eric Cantona, who moved from Leeds after winning the championship with them, moved to Manchester United and won the league with them, while Leeds were in 17th place that season. So what a difference a Cantona makes. And also, it's been a while since anybody scored a hat-trick in this game. Actually, 42 years since there's been a hat-trick. So maybe this weekend, someone's going to score 3 and make themselves a hero. But anyway, I hope you enjoy the game. It just sounds great, doesn't it? Man United versus Leeds. Let's hope it is a great game with lots of goals. And back to Pete.
Sets it up nicely, Kev. Man United Leeds, what we going for?
Well, you said a hat-trick, so I'm going for three goals for Man United.
Yep.
And I'm going 3-1, and Galston's going to have to get out of that hotel.
Yeah, that's at the bride coming in as well. It's a bride coming. Well, we'll get your prediction now, Galton.
I'm going for 2-2.
Man United Leeds.
2-2.
Okay, 2-2. Kenny?
Oh, he stole mine, Pete. He stole it. I'm going to have to go for 2-1 United then.
Okay, Kev, I've got 2-0 Man United.
2-0 United. Cool.
Yeah. Back up to you, Kev. Norwich, Liverpool.
Come on, Kev.
Oh, well, you know what? It's the first game of the season. Brentford have showed Norwich exactly what to do. And you know me, I don't even like to predict for the red noses, but I can't see anything other than a Liverpool win. I'm going to go pretty convincing. I'm going to go 2-0 Liverpool.
Galton?
I'm going to go, Norwich are going to nick this 2-1.
Yep, fantastic, great stuff.
That's definitely the heart rolling the head going. Yeah, definitely.
It's a fanboy
Listen,
prediction.
you know what? I actually hope so. I hope you're right for wee Billy, because good friend of mine. I hope, and I know he'll like the show up as he always does. But like Kev, I've got to go with Liverpool. I can't say anything other than a Liverpool win. I'm going to go 3-1.
I'm going opening day. Big crowd, excitement. Liverpool slow to start. I'm going 1-1.
Oh, great shout.
Go on and take that now, Pete.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, snap that.
Take that now.
Yeah.
You can send fish and chips over to Dubai if it's right. Okay, Kev, we've got Leicester and Wolves.
Yeah, I think Leicester's tails are up at the moment, Pete. As Kenny rightly said, I don't really know much about the current manager at Wolves. I believe they've had a decent pre-season, but I think at Leicester, I can't see them getting beat. So I'm going to go. It's a Midlands derby as well, by the way. So I'm going to go 2-1 Leicester. I'm going to go tight. Okay. 2-1 Leicester.
Galton, what you got for us?
I'm going to go a draw, 1-1.
1-1. Yep, good shout. Kenny?
2-0 Leicester.
2-0.
Good start to the season. Strong team. 2-0.
Strong team. Played great football as well, don't they, by the way?
Good to watch. Good to watch.
I've got Leicester 3-1, Kev.
Good. Fair. That's fair.
Here
we go. Here we go, boys.
Go.
Get ready.
Newcastle, West Ham. God help me.
Oh.
Kev.
Well, listen, you've got your talisman in now.
Yep.
You've nicked him off us for 20-odd million quid. I think this is going to be similar to last season, Pete. I think it's going to be 2-2.
Okay.
A draw, 2-2.
Shout. Galton, Newcastle, West Ham.
I'm going to go West Ham win, 2-0.
Just find that mute button there. Okay, no problem. Kenny, what you got for us?
Yeah, I'm going West Ham win as well, Pete. Sorry, pal. I'm going to go 2-1.
2-1. Okay, I've got 2-1 to the tune, Kev. I fancy Newcastle.
Oh.
You said it. We've got a decent record against West Ham, so fans are back in. We'll see what we get. And finally, arguably the game of the weekend, apart from Newcastle and West Ham, is Spurs Man City, Kev.
Yeah.
A little bit of Spurs.
Listen, I'm going to go. I'm going 2-0 Man City.
Okay. Galton, what you got for us?
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-0 Man City.
Kenny?
3-1 Man City.
3-1. And I've got 2-0 Man City as well, Kev. So I will keep everyone keep everyone updated. Gents, it's been absolutely fantastic. I'm just going to pop the last code up for the guys. Hope you've all enjoyed it as much as we have. It's been great. Galton's got to get to this wedding, otherwise he's not going to get a seat. Absolutely fantastic. There's the last code. Kev, what have you got on this week quickly before we go?
This week I've got a bit of filming to do for Question of Sport and some other bits and pieces.
Oh, you're back on there, are you?
It's going to be busy. It's going to be busy.
Great stuff. And Kenny, obviously, pre-season training will it go up a notch?
Well, you know what? It's a funny one, and because we've no game to aim for because of the situations going on, so we're going into it a little bit blind. So we actually have the weekends off. We have the weekends off because we've nothing to game for. So I'll be in the next hour with feet up, glass of wine, and watch the Man United Leeds match.
Watch the football. Galton, what are you doing after you've come out with the wedding? What's the plans?
I am gasping for a pint. So I'll be having a pint. I do just want to say, though, it's been a real privilege to actually sort of virtually meet Kevin and Kenny and yourself. I remember you guys so well, obviously. A real pleasure. Thank you.
It's been an absolute blast. We'll have to do it again soon.
Pete, can I just say?
Yeah.
Pete, can I just say, Galton, if you fancy a beer, feel free to listen. Once you have a beer in the bar there, jump in the helicopter and come down to London. I'll have a
Listen, it's been an absolute blast, ladies and gentlemen. That's it from Galton Blackiston, Kenny Miller, the one and only Super Kevin Campbell, and me, Geordie Pete Redding. We'll see you next time on Hollywood Balls.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you, guys.